loops it down there, and wide open. Then the ball is knocked loose. The catch is made, and then the ball is knocked out of his hand.
From Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
You are lifting weights?
Correct. Does it not look like it?
Oh, the ball is free. Scooped up by Stroud. Circles, throws, complete on a busted play. Hutchinson.
It's Justin Herbert.
Hey, you Buzz Lightyear.
I love this shit. I'm gonna smile all day. Hey, cause it's fun when I whoop a man's ass.
Welcome back to the Bolts Podcast. My name is Nick Cates. My pronouns are he and him, and I am wearing PBKS today because it is hot here in Los Angeles, and this is the most breathable shirt that I own. Whew! The preseason has ended, and cut down day has finished, so let's start there with the Chargers. It was unfortunately a 30-23 loss on Sunday against the 49ers up in Santa Clara, but there were a ton of really nice positives from this game that I want to go through that ended up leading to kind of an interesting cut day. So, to start out with, Trey Lance wasn't his best outing of the preseason, but he still looked pretty okay. Just 5 for 8 for 38 yards, but he pretty well cemented himself as QB2 on the Chargers roster. Taylor Heinicke probably had his best game of the preseason so far. He was 3 for 5 for 31 yards, but yeah, that's not really saying much because he's been pretty crap so far in the preseason. I got a big time treat on Sunday because it was far and away out of all the preseason games the most snaps for my favorite player, Stevo Klotz, the fullback tight end out of Iowa State, and he played, I thought, really, really well. He had a couple of really nice catches, and he also made several key blocks at fullback and at tight end. I was really excited about Stevo coming out of this game. I thought he did a really good job of showing everything that I like about him, but more to come on Stevo shortly. Another guy that we talked about in the prospect spotlights, Nico Reed. He was injured for the Saints game, but he was back on Sunday against the 49ers, and man, did he look good. He had a bunch of pass breakups. He had a bunch of big tackles. He was all over the field. Looked like an NFL player once again, as he has in the previous games, as did, most notably, Marlowe Wax. Marlowe, on consecutive plays, stuffed an inside run, I think for no gain or in the backfield, and then he shot the gap on a blitz for a sack fumble. He had a huge fourth down stop as well in the fourth quarter. Another big, big game for Marlowe Wax, and that would end up paying some pretty big dividends for him. DJ Uiagalelei actually, I think, was the best of the quarterbacks on Sunday, and he, for the second time in this preseason, threw a beautiful, beautiful dot touchdown. This time, previous time was to Dale Von Campbell. This time, it was to Aronde Gadsden for the TD. I wrote at the time, Taylor Heinicke is so cooked. You know what? Spoiler alert. He was so cooked. He got cut. One guy who I haven't gotten a chance to talk about, but who I also really loved on tape, but we haven't really seen a ton from him, is Garmon Randolph. Outside linebacker, undrafted out of Baylor. He's had a lot of snaps so far in the preseason, but he hasn't made a ton of plays. He's fallen a little bit further under the radar, kind of a raw player, but he is 6'6", 265. He is huge. He needs to work a little bit on using his size and speed effectively sometimes, but he's versatile as an outside linebacker. He can stop the run, he can pressure the quarterback, and he had a couple of key interceptions against Iowa State and also in Baylor's bowl game against LSU. He also had a big sack on Sunday against the 49ers, so excellent work from Garmon Randolph. I really enjoyed watching his tape, and I was glad to see him have a big highlight on Sunday. Dale Von Campbell had another big game for the Chargers. He had a nice 2-minute drill at the end of the half with DJ with a couple of nice catches down the sideline. Unfortunately for Chargers punt returning star Luke Grimm, who ran one back against the Rams, he had basically the opposite experience this week against the Niners. He muffed 2 punts and he lost both of those. He did get a touchdown later in the game to redeem himself a little bit, but the 2 muff punts was really devastating to see for Luke Grimm after such a big return in the previous game. And a bit of unfortunate news, we had another injury. Josh Harris, the Chargers' longtime long snapper, is out, and Tucker Fisk actually had to come in and do a little bit of a job filling in for Josh Harris as our long snapper. And he did a perfectly capable job, but obviously long snapper, it's a very specialty and very important position. Tough one to lose in your last preseason game. I believe that Josh Harris is designated to return, so we won't lose him for the whole season. And the Chargers have brought in Rick Lovato from the Super Bowl champion Eagles to long snap in the meantime. So that is at least good news there. So that brought us to Tuesday, which was cut day, and it was a sad day. It was a very, very sad day for me. Not a good one. My man Stevo Klotz didn't make 53-man roster. I think it might have been slightly wishful thinking for me to think that he was going to make the 53-man roster. But still a little bit disappointed that he didn't. However, Stevo, after clearing waivers, did not re-sign with the Chargers practice squad either, which means he is not on the team. As of taping, he actually still has not found his way onto another team. So I was really disappointed to see that. I think there's a few reasons why that's going on. I think the Chargers are very invested in making Scott Matlock work at fullback just because they can use him in 2 separate positions and get a lot of extra depth that way. I also understand wanting to keep Tucker Fisk on the roster, even with Rick Lovato coming in, because he can long snap in a pinch if you need him to. This just feels like a really, really unfortunate set of circumstances for Stevo. And I'm sad, guys. I'm really sad. He's a great football player. I hope he lands on any team other than the Chiefs or Raiders or the Cowboys. He doesn't deserve the Cowboys. Somebody sign Stevo. Give him a job. I know I'm not his agent. I'm just a fan. Put him on a team. He's so good. Luke Grimm as well. The 2 muffed punts. That is a rough sitch for Luke. Unfortunately, he was cut from the Chargers roster as well and not picked up on the practice squad. As of taping, he also has not found his way onto another team. Couple of surprise inclusions. Tucker Fisk, he's not a huge surprise. I was just kind of bummed that it was him and not Stevo, but for the reasons outlined before, I kind of understand. Ja'Sir Taylor, this is somebody who's ostensibly in the team for special teams reasons, as I've never really seen Ja'Sir cover anybody preseason, regular season, postseason. I'm sure he's done it, and I'm not watching closely enough, but yeah, I don't think that many Chargers fans would have missed him had he not made the team. And Hassan Haskins, I don't know. I'm not the hugest fan of him. I have a memory burned into my head of him fumbling last year. So, of all the running backs, I wasn't super happy that they kept him, especially considering that they cut our breakout star running back of the preseason, Rocket Sanders, out of South Carolina. And Rocket Sanders did not clear waivers. In fact, he was claimed by the employer of another famous Sanders in the NFL, Shador Sanders, and he will be joining him with the Cleveland Browns. So definitely a big L for the Chargers losing Rocket Sanders. I hope maybe it doesn't work out with the Browns and we can bring him back, but he looked great. And I don't know that there's anybody around talking about the Chargers that can tell you why he was cut. I think most of us thought he would be a lock. Also wanted to mention 3 undrafted guys who did end up making the Chargers 53-man roster. They will be on the team. First up, Marlowe Wax earned his way onto the team with the 49ers game and with the rest of the games he played. He was excellent. Congratulations to Marlowe. And Nico Reed, another guy all over the place. That got him a spot on the Chargers. He will be in the Chargers secondary. And finally, this guy I believe is going on IR. He should be coming back at some point in the season, but he is on IR at the moment, but he still made the initial 53, is Eric Rodgers, the big star of the Saints game, and hopefully he will be able to get out there, pick off a couple of passes in the regular season. So, good for those 3 guys. Another guy who ended up being claimed off of waivers. This is just kind of an unfortunate situation. The Chargers wide receivers room is stacked and just not a lot of room for anybody to get in right now with Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith coming in and playing so well. So unfortunately, the odd man out was Dale Von Campbell, who's been making a lot of highlights this preseason, and those highlights got him claimed by the Carolina Panthers, so he will be in Carolina this year. And then our 7th round pick, Triqueze Bridges. I think a lot of folks were noticing that Triqueze kind of had a difficult preseason. I certainly saw him get burned a couple of times. He got burned big time against the Saints. He's a raw player coming out of college. I wasn't surprised to see him cut. I thought they'd try to keep him back on the practice squad, but Triqueze got claimed by the Cowboys, and he will go into that interesting situation. I think I may wait for Ariane to discuss the overall implications of why that situation is so interesting, but if you didn't know, Jer Bear did it. I was wrong. His shit actually caught up to him, and his refusal to pay his players has lost him Micah Parsons, who has been traded to the Green Bay Packers for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. So, more on that later when Ariane is back to pod. But, yeah. In terms of the practice squad, some guys who we've talked about a little bit, who I'm pretty stoked to have seen make it. Starting off with DJ Uiagalelei, who has beaten out Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke is gone. DJU is our QB3. I'm happy to see it. I think he really earned that position in the preseason. I was honestly really surprised to see how well he played, given how up and down his college career was. But maybe that was what DJ needed. Maybe DJ just needed to come to the NFL, and he'd finally be at home. So I'm really happy to see him succeeding with the Chargers and clearing out himself a spot on the practice squad. Tony Jefferson. Now, this one was a very, very controversial move when Tony Jefferson was cut from the 53. I know I wasn't super thrilled about it. With the way that Jesse Minter uses safeties, it would have made sense to keep 5, and Tony's played really, really great for the Chargers ever since he came out of retirement to play for us last year. Luckily, they were able to keep Tony, so a little bit of a bullet dodge there. He didn't even have to clear waivers. He could just sign with a new team immediately, so that was a little bit of a scary situation, but Chargers have him back, so I'm happy to see that. Not totally sure why he was cut in the first place, but glad to see him on the practice squad and still within the Chargers organization. Miles Purchase, who we talked about previously as more secondary depth, who had that really nice interception against the Lions. He's had some nice tackles as well. Garmin Randolph, who I talked about earlier, and T-Raw Edwards, who I talked about last week, who had that awesome interception against the Rams on the practice squad. So happy for all of those guys. A couple of guys who I'll just be blunt, I wish one of them had been cut and we'd brought back Stevo instead, but I don't make the rules. Jaquay Jackson, nothing wrong with him, but I just feel like he didn't do that much for us in the preseason. Especially, Stevo had 2 catches. Jaquay Jackson didn't do much more than that, and he wasn't out there blocking, so I don't know. Jalen Reagor has just not had a very good NFL career. I kind of feel for him a little bit. He's just it's just been a tough one for him. He's good enough to stay in the league, but he's made so many mistakes. I believe the audio from our podcast intro theme song with the fumble at the end, that was Jalen Reagor who had caught that ball. Again, it could have been Stevo. I don't think we're losing much by losing him. And Naheem Miller-Hines, he muffed a punt. I'll give one for Luke Grimm. If Luke Grimm muffs 2 punts but brings one back, I don't think Naheem brought one all the way back. I don't know. He was a late pickup. I don't know. I thought one of those 3 guys could have been Stevo instead, but that's just my opinion. So, the Chargers are now off to Brazil to take on the hated, evil Kansas City Chiefs in week 1. Next Friday, that's a week from today. I'm very excited about that. I'm hoping to get one more in with Ariane before then, so I want to save some of the preview stuff for that. But it's going to be about dominating the trenches, as always. So, let's go Chargers, and a little bit more previewing that game as we get a little bit closer to game time. You can also, quick shameless plug, you can also follow us on our TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, at Bolts Cricket Podcast. We're posting reels there every single day, updates, random comments, me yelling at Rams fans who don't understand how penalties work. So follow us there, and we're going to have more lead up and anticipation to that Chiefs game. So moving off of the on-field exploits of the Chargers and on to the off-field exploits of one of the Chargers. I think this story had broke when I taped the last podcast, but you can tell how online I actually am. I didn't even think to talk about it until now. But our QB1, Justin Herbert, has a new girlfriend. Her name is Madison Beer, and I admit I had never heard of her in my life until she was linked with dating Justin Herbert. I don't know who this is. You can laugh at me. I don't really care. But I'm really happy for these two. They haven't publicly confirmed that it's a relationship, but they seem like they're having fun hanging out with each other. And obviously this was massive news. It absolutely broke the internet. And it broke the internet so hard that certain regular attention havers on the internet started to get jealous. Chiefly, the world's most famous Chiefs fan, Taylor Swift. So she first attempted to steal the attention back from Justin Herbert by announcing that she's releasing another album, which clearly didn't work all that well because like 2 weeks later or something like that, and this one just came down a couple of days ago, she shocked the world by announcing her engagement to none other than former England captain Kevin Peterson. That's right. KP and T Swift are getting married. You were lied to. Travis Kelce is... That's definitely happening, and you don't need to Google any of it. That is who she is really marrying here. Do you not believe me? I have exclusive audio of the first time they ever met. Listen to this.
You do your chess match, and then you...
Test match.
Listen to that chemistry. Can you not feel that? And how about this from Taylor? You don't think she's marrying KP? How do you square this?
I love the cricket.
See? Congratulations to Taylor and Kevin Peterson, but you're never going to steal the spotlight away from Justin Herbert. Nice try, but better luck next time. To the cricket!
Go, Chargers, go! Chargers, go! Go, go, go!
Just a couple of quick cricket stories for you, and we can start off with the successor franchise to Kevin Peterson. Huh? How's that for transition? Kevin Peterson's old CPL team, and the sister franchise to my beloved Punjab Kings. The St. Lucia Kings are, like the Punjab Kings, atop the table. However, the CPL's got something up with its scheduling. It's very strange. They've got a weird situation where a couple teams have played like 6 or 7 games, and then a bunch of the rest of the teams have played either 3 or 4. So there's several teams with a couple of wins and a very good net run rate that are way down the table just because they haven't played enough games to get very many points. The other interesting thing that's happened, and I've never seen anything like this before, the Antigua and Barbuda Falcons, for older viewers of the CPL, they were the Jamaica Talawas previously. They are in second place, but they have the worst net run rate in the entire league. So Football Fans net run rate is our main tiebreaker in franchise T20 cricket. It's kind of like points differential, sort of, but maybe a little bit more complicated. And ABF have the worst one, and they are the second best team in the league by points. How do you do this? So, the Falcons have, first of all, played 7 games, which I believe is more than maybe any other team, including St. Lucia. They have 3 wins, 3 losses, and 1 no result. So the no result obviously helps. That's a free point. But as for the net run rate, a good way to achieve a result like what the Falcons have is to barely win all your games and get completely pasted in all of your losses. So check this out. In each of their losses, twice they lost defending a total, and they were chased down in 13.1 overs and 18.4 overs. And their third loss was by 83 runs. So it's kind of insane that they're in this position. I would be surprised if they go to the CPL postseason with this sort of set of credentials. Obviously, if you have a terrible net run rate, you're just not playing very good cricket, and you're kind of getting lucky on a lot of those wins. And I don't know. On the other hand, it is very interesting to watch a team do this. I don't feel like I've really seen this type of thing in the IPL. But yeah, just an interesting little observation from the only legit T20 franchise tournament going on in the world right now. Unfortunately, there's another franchise, not T20, it's not T20, but it is a tournament where cricket is played, and it doesn't take very long. It takes less than like a day. It's kind of similar. It's called 100. It's terrible. We've talked about it on this podcast before and how it's terrible. Can you believe? I hope you're sitting down, because this is going to be even more shocking than Taylor Swift marrying Kevin Peterson. They managed to make the 100 worse. That's right, guys. Let me explain this a little bit. So, I don't watch the 100 at all. I militantly refuse to watch the 100. I have watched maybe 2 minutes of the 100 in my life on Tickover on Willow TV looking for the CPL. However, due to the deeply nuanced but ultimately excellent cricket video game Cricket 24, I am familiar enough with the 100 and its teams to know the uncomfortable fact that the 100 is not or was not all crap. And there are 1 or 2 teams that do at least have some cool branding, right? Some cool uniforms. We all love a good uniform, right? We all love a good logo. And at the top of that list, it's not a very long list, might be 2 teams, but absolute best uniforms in the 100, absolute best branding in the 100. Some of my favorite uniforms, and I hate to say this because I hate the 100 with a burning passion, some of the best uniforms I've seen in world cricket, those belong to the Oval Invincibles. Or I should say, they did belong to the Oval Invincibles. Because unfortunately, as we learned this week, the Oval Invincibles are, in fact, vincible. And they have been vinced into a new name and a new identity that regular listeners to this podcast may find familiar. They have been renamed by their owners, A1 Ambani family. They have been renamed to MI London. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. To go from a cool logo and a cool name and a cool uniform. Their main color is seafoam green, and their last year's uniform was my favorite. They overlaid all these other colors. They had like a gradient down the sleeves. It was sick. This year they have this like purple joint going with the seafoam green that's really cool. And that's going to be replaced. Not only that, but they have this cool, interesting finger logo and like a good font. Like, I'll admit this, the Oval Invincibles, like, it didn't suck. And now it's gonna suck because it's MI again. We already have 3 MIs. A 4th MI has struck the edifice of world cricket. And it is taken out like maybe the only thing that made me okay that this league even exists. So I guess we're getting MI London next year. Boycott the 100 forever. And the Ambanis need to get more creative with their freaking team names. I'm sorry. I'm done with MI and their stupid MI plus city name team naming stuff. And obviously, if it wasn't Jover for me with the 100 before this, it's as Jover as it's ever been. Infuriating stuff from the 100. I honestly, I should just memory hole the whole thing. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. As soon as the fact that they ever even though they changed it back, the fact that they ever even renamed wickets to outs, I just should have known. Just don't even give it 1 second of the time of day. So I'm sad. That's all. But you know what's gonna make me not sad? It's that next week, Shohei Ohtani will be joining us on this podcast to help me in my quest to get Stevo Klotz a new job in the NFL. So, for Ariane Ori, DJ Uiagalelei, and everybody else associated with the NFL's 4077th team, my name is Nick Cates, and I'm saying, well...
I've got so much to say and so little time to say it. Great job, everybody. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!